Greetings, Saberites. Anonymous here. I hope everyone is doing well and keeping busy and active while in lockdown, as most of us are right now. And we are no exception over here, so coming to you with another little quarantine chat. Today I wanted to talk a little bit about and make a distinction here very quickly, or hopefully very quickly, between training and what most people will call application, but I'll call usage, competition, that kind of thing. It's not one thing. We tend to say applications in martial arts as if that is one thing. But there are many different applications depending on the scenario, depending on the context, depending on what is actually going on. So it's never just one thing. But the reason I want to bring this up is because we've got a proliferation of rule sets by which we can play together with our lightsabers and spar and fight and all this other stuff. Now, runs the gamut from being very having lots and lots of protection to having anywhere in between to Ludosport, which uses very little protection. And then you have degrees of which things, as I talked about before, degrees of abstractness in particular rule sets and gameplay, as it were. So we've established that the rule sets are different. They will require sometimes different skills, different skill sets, different strategies, all of that kind of thing. Some of them totally not related to any type of reality fighting, but more based on technicality of the rules. That's just the nature of sport. Let's move away from that and let's talk about the bulk of what we have up on the internet, which is our training. Our training is not a sport in and of itself, as in the ASL-FFE rule set or Duan Bing or any of these kind of set things. It is more a traditional and historical type martial arts system, meaning it is a system by which people can follow it and through their training attain skill to apply in a variety of different scenarios and contexts. Martial art is applied in several different contexts, not just fighting. Nowadays, most of the time when we think of martial art, and if a martial art is good or bad, we say, will it work in an MMA situation or in a ring or something like that? Or will it work with a single opponent and and all of that kind of thing? And that's just one scenario by which people have used martial arts in the past. It's totally different if you're in the military. It's totally different if you are a police officer. It matters if you want to kill, maim, or simply subdue your opponent. All of these factors come into that. So when you're talking about a martial arts system, right, it should be applied to all of those scenarios, plus performance. Not just the performance of solo exercises and dance routines and that kind of thing, which are martially based on training, with some flourishes, but also in the simulation of fights, choreography, stage combat, that kind of thing. That is a actual application of martial arts, performance and stage combat. Stage combat, while it is not real combat, is meant to approximate and to symbolize real combat, and therefore the training must be similar, right? Oftentimes identical when you're talking about the base skills, sword handling, footwork, body mechanics. Those things are going to be pretty universal, no matter what context you want to go into. And that's where we're coming from. We are putting together skills and organizing them in such a way by which whatever your context, or whatever your particular flavor of sabering will tend to be, whether it will be free combat sparring, whether it will be performance-based choreography, or whether it will be solo-based self-fitness / spiritual development training. And I don't mean spiritual development in any kind of magical or supernatural way, but as in martial arts tends to give us a sense of peace. It allows us to get out our frustrations and our things in practice rather than letting them boil over in life. So a lot of people use that for this. It's fine. You never have to fight a person. And you can still call yourself a martial artist, right? Now, you don't want to call yourself a fighter if you don't fight. So that's where I make the distinction. Fighters, performers, right? Teachers and coaches are going to be different than the performers, and that. A lot of really great performers could never coach, never did coach, never even thought about trying to do that. And growing up in and around athletics in the collegiate level, there are many players who cannot coach, who cannot teach other people. They simply do not know how they do what they do. They just do it. And oftentimes those are the greatest performers and athletes, not often the greatest coaches. So anyway, our system and all of those forms and all of that kind of thing, we're not tailoring them to rule sets. We will have certain exercises that we will tailor towards rule sets. As, for example, we will be putting out versions of our forms, of our Dulan, that are specifically meant to help train for the ASL-FFE rule set. But these are derivatives. There is a main body that is coming out by which we can take things out and apply them to specific contexts, right? But there is a core which has all of it in there. As I call it, the kitchen sink approach, right? It's part of my martial arts training from way back. Currently, right now, in Masha Tombe, it is one of our leading principles to train 10,000 to use but one. Know your stuff, right? Understanding that you will use very little of it when it comes down. You just want to be able to have enough stuff there. Now, that's not to say just go out willy-nilly and gobble up everything you have. It's best to have a smaller set or a very organized set of exercises and drills to go to. So that's what I would suggest. So remember this. Whatever rule set you like to spar with or fight with or play with, these types of exercises can help those things. You may not apply everything that we do in them. We don't apply everything that we do in them. But certain people may. Combat people are going to be looking at should probably look at the forms more like fitness things, cardio, body mechanics, learning how to do these moves under fatigue and stress, that kind of thing. People who are performers may want to do them to look very nice, to use them as crisp lines, to get these images across that you have to get across to your audience to portray the parts and the drama that you want to portray. So there's all those different types of things. So we have various different things. We have a couple of ways that we tend to fight in-house. We love to play with all the rule sets. We experiment with them. We try them out and everything like that. As I said, we have no value judgment on rule sets, just like in HEMA. And this would be a good analogy as well. If you look at HEMA has very many rule sets, almost to the point where you have a rule set that is specific to different events, right? And yet people are using many of the same sources. And so the exercises and things that we do in our videos are taking from all of these sources, not just the historical sources, but from traditional sources. All of our different knights and members are coming from different martial arts and that kind of thing, and bringing their own techniques, their own flavors, their own strategies and stuff like that. And we're learning from each other, and we're kind of putting it all into a thing, which will be which people can use, to whatever they want. Now, like I said, we will be doing some specific training for the ASL-FFE rule set, because that's something that it's one of our projects. But you can take our stuff and apply it to your projects as well. So, and that's the whole point. That's why we keep it open source. That's why we keep most of the stuff out there. We will be doing more classes, and we're going to have more content stuff that goes deeper for some of the people that want to go deeper, and for the people who just, are interested in the stuff. We'll have opportunities for you to get more of that stuff in more organized fashion, all of that kind of thing. But anyway, I'm getting ahead of myself. So that's all I wanted to talk about today. Try to keep these two things separate. Try to keep your rule sets and your sparring and all of that as one type of idea, and keep your training as training in preparation for what you're doing. And that will give you the hint on where to place most of your effort. You don't want to leave anything out, because some of those things, even if you don't do the ASL rule set, so you're sparring, you can't spin around. Spinning around in a form doesn't just teach you how to spin around in a fight when you have a single target, right? But it teaches you how to reorient your gaze. It teaches you how to unfocus and focus back up. It desensitizes your head and your nervous system to being dizzy, which is always very, very, very valuable. So there's always something to learn, right? And that's our motto here. There's always something to learn from something. And we hope that you stick around and you continue to learn, and we hope that we're allowing that. If you have anything you want to learn that we haven't kind of covered, please let us know. And in the coming days, as we go on here, we will try to put some stuff out attending to it. Anyway, I will leave it there and let everybody get back to their days inside. Get back to training, get back to working on projects and whatever have you. We'll do the same here. Remember, we've got a live class tomorrow at 1:30 Eastern Standard Time. Well, Eastern Time. I think we're in daylight savings time. I can never remember. Anyway, at 1:30 p.m. So after lunch, get a good lunch, let it settle a little bit, and get ready for some sabering. And then we will be doing some more classes, some more live classes, and some interest in us doing a sword lab class. We'll do a kung fu class, and probably a tai chi class for people to help get the yin into their practice. It'll be done. Anyway, leave you there. Have a great day. Stay safe. Stay healthy. Patience, practice, perseverance. Happy savoring.